Hello, everybody. My name is Mahaya Abdul Kawi, founder and representative of the Accountability Party for Human Rights, a political vanguard organization comprised of comprised of individuals from the working class community, individuals who have chosen a path of self-awareness and self-understanding to become something more for themselves, for their loved ones and friends, and then if they can, through resources, extend themselves to their communities. In this video, I would like to discuss currently what was leaked out to the American public this morning about the Roe v. Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision being overturned, which, for those who don't know the politics or for those who don't know the history behind Roe v. Wade, what that would mean moving forward if it is overturned is that it would be essentially illegal to do for women to have an abortion. And of course, there are technicalities, state legislation that will have to go through. But all in all, that is what that means if Roe v. Wade is overturned. And why this is an important thing, and I don't want to discuss too much into the specifics of abortion. I'm not going to speak on that. What I would like to speak more so on is that the response and the focus on this ruling is such a cultural problem. It doesn't have anything to do with what's really going on. And what I mean by that is, and this is where I want to shift and highlight something that to me is a much bigger problem, is the mass evictions that are going to be happening across this country that have already started already and that will increase as this year progresses. We're seeing now evictions in certain cities are starting to rise back to pre-pandemic levels. But I am afraid truly that in certain places where it was already bad before, we're going to see this return to pre-pandemic numbers keep shooting up from there. We have people who are struggling who haven't been struggling before. We have people who were struggling before in a position financially that is horrific to live through, especially when the price on living is increasing in every aspect, from food to transportation to where you live. And with and that's the to me that is the crazy part about all of this, because this shift from okay to bad, from bad to worse, from worse to eventually kicked out to the streets. This was this process began and was rushed. I mean, it's been a buildup for decades in this country as to why that was the status already. But the transitioning to a much worse state, it happened during the pandemic, and not because COVID itself, but because these politicians told us that for the general public health, every American has the responsibility to stop going to work, to take their kids out of school, to teach them to pretty much upend their whole entire way of life for the sake of public health. And in doing so, they will protect us for doing that. They will protect our livelihood and our way of life if we collectively did this one responsibility. You can't pay for rent because we told you to stay home instead of going to your job. That is okay. We will protect it, and we will ensure that the process going back would be okay. So now that COVID isn't a hot topic in the media anymore, you see that all the protections from a scenario that they had caused us are gone right with it. And I want to keep bringing highlight to this as everything else that is highlighted on this channel, because that is the purpose, again, to highlight the things, to hold the people accountable, to hold the working class accountable to what they need to know if we are going to ensure our survival, and then eventually to be able to thrive in the new world that is coming upon us. It is important that we know this because we all did our responsibility, and now we're being kicked out into the streets. We having to fight, argue, battle with landlords, with the housing market, with rent prices going up. We are desperately yelling, and that's where we need to start shifting the focus, because we are yelling too much. We're reaching too much for these politicians, for these elites, for these CEOs, for these billionaires to care about us. They don't care. And we need to understand that. Because, and this is where I want to connect it back to the hot news of today, probably for next week or so, knowing the media, with this Supreme Court ruling, is that a good amount of Americans since 1995 in some degree support abortion. Now, they don't believe that if you're 7, 8 months into your abortion, into your pregnancy, that you should kill what is now a baby. I feel like a lot of people, even those, well, no, because I know there's a lot of extremists too, but I am pretty sure in my gut, a lot of Americans are against it at a reasonable standpoint. But we're all for it if it's something that we can all deem isn't essentially a full-on living human being yet, where there is no repercussion, where there isn't a moral weight in the first trimester, where there is that window. Most Americans would all agree, yes, I may not be for it, but I am okay if somebody in that time window chooses to do that decision. So if this is the most, if this is the consensus that most Americans have, why are we wasting our breath, our attention, and everything, still looking to these politicians to dictate how we live if the general consensus is for it? And this goes back to the original point of what myself and others who are on the self-growth and self-empowerment path are really trying to get people to understand. We all agree in that. We, the working class people, the people who this country is, we hold this country on our backs, from the status quo to how we live in terms of the culture dynamics, in terms of how we interact, to what's trending. Not these elites, and it's crucial that we understand that. It's crucial that they don't determine that. Their duty, even the celebrities, the politicians, they're secondary to us. They are a byproduct of what we determine, not the other way around. So I am for women's rights and for you let people decide what they want to do with their body and their life. But the fact that we're still having this debate, to me, sorry, to me, sorry, the fact that we're still having this debate is a waste of time. When people are about to get kicked out across the board, regardless if you're a pregnant woman, a woman who's not pregnant, a man who got a woman pregnant but can't afford it, a man who's not having sex, for everybody is about to be kicked out of their houses. We're about to be forced to pay prices that we can no longer pay for a goddamn bag of chips. Where that's now going to be a financial conversation that we have to make. There are things, cultural things, only are for specific groups. But matters in terms of how we live, in terms of where we live, that affects everybody. And those should be the matters that we're talking about. And the fact that we're not. We would rather talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter rather than Bill Gates buying up all the farmland across America. That affects us. The American people need the resources that can be grown, that can be produced on these farmlands. Why is Bill Gates, the man who's already a billionaire and can get anything he wants, why is he getting more from our pockets, from our land, and from our resources? But yet we can focus on what Elon Musk is doing in terms of free speech. Who the fuck cares? Who cares? Who cares if there's a bunch of asshole men in this old game of American politics who are still bitching about abortion? We have the power to determine our own rules and laws. We can make that. And for people to be like, oh, no. You would rather fight me and hear what I'm saying. I'm saying, if anything, I'm saying, yes, you have the rights as a woman to do what you want. Fuck what they say still. Rally around that. Rally around the fact that stop rallying around these people, begging for them to do something for us. They don't care. So why should we care? Elon Musk doesn't care about our discourse. Neither does all the people complaining on CNN. Oh my God, Elon Musk and Trump are bringing in hell. Quote unquote CNN. Who the hell cares? We as the working class need to understand our value. We need to understand we determine what happens. And it's important that we understand this because these people that we keep reaching and crying and complaining out to, oh my God, make the laws for our favor. You determine our livelihood. Because we've done that for so long, we are now in a position where our lives are about to be destroyed because we would have rather taken comfort and to complain for our rights instead of standing up and understanding that, hey, there's more of us than there is. To have self-value in ourselves, to have self-understanding in who we are. If we took the time to do that, we wouldn't be arguing all damn morning about what we can or can't do. We would understand, no, screw them for even trying to control what we can do. In a society where in a real democracy where the people have the power, them doing that wouldn't even be seen as, oh my God, it's going to happen. It would be seen as, why do they think they can do that in our democracy? Why do the police think that they can shoot us, the working class that they serve and protect, and get away with it? Or cater to the celebrities once they know that a person is a celebrity? What difference is it between the working class and them? So the point in me doing all this, I don't want to make it seem like I am against women's rights or the choice to have abortion, although I do believe, again, in a better society that cares for its people, they would offer more solutions than abortion. Although I'm not against abortion, I do think a healthy society should offer people, especially those, because I think in specific cases, like if a woman is raped, she should not have the responsibility of bearing a child, especially when that shouldn't even be talked about. But in cases where a woman doesn't want to have a child simply because she can't afford it or because of life or financial reasonings, the fact that somebody can't have the beauty of a child because of financial reasons isn't a matter of like rape or moral. That's like the failings of a society and a government for not doing what's supposed to do, which is again ensuring that the people, no matter what country, that the people have all access to live their full spectrum of a human being. And if they choose to not have a child, that's their choice on them, but it shouldn't be decided because of economic failures of a society. So I'm not against abortion. What I'm against, though, is the fact that this is even a topic because this is what is focused on by idiotic politicians, um, divisive media, and just an elite system and all that constantly is dictating what we, the working class, can do, should do, how we live, what we care about, what we talk about. It's just tiring. And I'm tired of the working class feeding into it when if we just take a moment to understand our value and our worth, can really determine that it doesn't matter if they try to pass these laws. We determine in a general consensus what we want, that we are capable of determining what we want and what we need. And inshallah, man, in time, the working class takes those steps to understand themselves, to understand that we dictate this society in a real democracy. And inshallah, once we do that, we won't have outcries over stuff like that. We will flick it off knowing that we are okay because we say we are okay, not because they say so.